bloodstained moon, fate sealed at night. The Donnellys stood defiant, bathed in spectral light. The fields of bitter whispered, of vengeance cold and stark.
Welcome to Conspiracy Wars. My name is Kyle.
And I'm Nathan.
All right. So, how's it been going?
It's been good.
Awesome.
Not bad. Yeah. How about yourself?
It's been a good week. We had that fake out of good weather.
Yeah. Oh, man.
20.
It was nice. It was like, in the morning, it was freezing cold. And then you come out later and it was like t-shirt weather. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I enjoyed it for the day, even though I had to work. Yeah.
Were you were stuck inside?
Yeah. Well, I work indoors. But I've worked out a plan to work outdoors this summer. Yeah, I bought extra Wi-Fi extender.
Oh, okay.
So I could work from the backyard.
Oh, cool.
Well, if it's the summertime and I work by headphones and I can concentrate on there, I don't want to be indoors,
Yeah. Well, so like, what does your work involve when you're like in headphones and whatnot? Like, are you talking to people?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't mind if you're outside and you can hear a car drive by, birds chirping or something like that.
They'll have to deal.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should hook all this up.
Yeah.
I've thought about that. Like, what if I actually use like a really good microphone? Would it like freak out the people on the other end?
Yeah, that'd be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Use one of these whole setups and you got like the whole board. The calling is going through the Bluetooth. Like,
yeah. Oh man, it'd be so killer if like I had sound effects going through and stuff.
Oh yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Just have like people laughing and stuff. Anyways. Yeah. Yeah. So did you see anything cool this past week? I think you were telling me something about there was a blood moon and some UFOs that happened from it.
Yeah, well, so I had heard this thing about this blood moon, but it was called like the worm moon or something, like the worm blood moon.
Okay.
And so, just that itself sounded kind of ominous, right? But then this footage popped up of people who were filming like UFOs, I guess that kind of came up during the moon. They're like, look at the moon, it's all blood red. But then there was like, it looked like probably 50 dotted objects like sprinkling down like asteroids or something like that, or fireflies even. And then they were like moving around like a flock of birds, like they would move like all in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a pack of them moving like that. It was, but then like they would fall, one or two would fall like a leaf kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah. But looking at them, they look like tadpoles almost, like in the distance. You know what I mean? Like they had a big top and then like a little tail that kind of like was behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's kind of weird is that these UFOs move in a weird way. Like you were saying, like tadpoles. Like when I see them and nowadays the kind of videos that are popping up online just kind of like really remind me of like someone shining a light in the sky, like a spotlight,
right?
But it doesn't stop on clouds and it's like super bright. So it fucks with my mind. Like,
well, it's kind of like what we talked about last time with could be Project Bluebeam.
Yeah,
it'd be perfect. I mean, you kind of need something to project against. That's the whole thing with a projector setup, right? So if you've got people who are possibly spraying some kind of clouds and making things misty all the time,
right,
it makes it a lot easier, right? You got a big white fluffy projection, right?
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Is it that's what breaks my brain too? But what if they have a device where they shine a light and it could stop at a certain, like a laser that...
Well, a hologram, right? That's what a hologram would be, where you have like, it's just a laser, but it only shoots up 6 inches and then would have to stop to like form the edge of the head or whatever, right? And then do that, 1,000 times or whatever for all the different points. That's the trick to, holograms, right? That's the thing that's kept everyone back.
Well, I know that doesn't account for like the actual physical things that people have seen, tic tacs and
Mhm.
whatnot. But when I do see some of the lights, it does look like to me somebody at the ground shining a flashlight, having fun. It moves like that, and then you were saying like the blood moon, it moves like tadpoles.
Right.
It makes you think like, is it a trick of the eye happening? Because we have a blood moon because of the way the sun is shining on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like bouncing off the earth in such a way, and then we're only getting like the red light.
I have no idea how it works, and it's kind of weird because it's like I think it's a rare thing, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
So why doesn't that happen all the time?
Yeah. So because it's only catching the infrared light of the spectrum off the sun.
But how could that only be happening like, once every 10 years or whatever it is that this is happening? Once every 5 years or 3 years?
The perfect mathematical angle.
Yeah.
Yes.
This comes down to that.
It just comes down to that because it's just so perfect. It's the same like if you look through a water droplet at just the right way, you can see a rainbow.
Right.
Well, this is the same idea, but only the red one.
Right.
And it's just like so perfect, and it makes you kind of wish like, oh, we have a blood moon. Can't we have just like a purple moon? Like that'd be more cooler, like, oh man, the day that Prince died, we had a purple moon.
Did you ever see that SNL sketch with Will Ferrell when he was doing the Harry Carey in space?
No.
Do you know who Harry Carey is? He was like a famous news broadcast, like a sports broadcaster.
Okay.
Like at the baseball games. Hey, he's taking first base here. So,
the old man?
Yeah, that Will Ferrell did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had like this big crazy hair, and he did this wacky face. He'd be like, "Hi, everybody, Harry Carey."
Yeah. What's your favorite planet? Mine's the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like one of the best sketches ever, man.
Yeah, I love that.
The first time he did that was Jeff Goldblum was the guest, right? So he's asking him, and Jeff Goldblum's like a perfect guy to be a scientist or something.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, what's your favorite planet? Mine's the sun. Well, that's a star. Well, whatever it is, when it burns out, we're all dead.
Yeah. So I tried to look up the blood moon thing that you're mentioning just to kind of get ahead of the curve, and I found nothing. Where did this happen? Where did they see it?
Well, so I'm pretty sure it was in the States. We should look because there's a clip online. I could probably find it pretty easily for you, and then we could actually see it. How's the video thing work on here for us?
Is it it's on YouTube?
If you play something, is that sound going to come through here, or is it going to
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Let's see. Is this hopefully it's under our account. Okay, go to Minutes of Horror. That guy's always got some great stuff.
Minute 2 horror?
Minutes of Horror. Yeah. There we go. Just go to like any of them.
Yeah, blanket.
That's his channel there. So click on the symbol, the first symbol there.
Oh yeah, just to get the whole
his channel, and then his latest one is going to be let's see here. Go to videos.
Yeah. So then it sorts by date.
Yeah, it should do.
Oh,
okay.
It said blood moon.
Did it? All right, just put it on mute.
Yeah,
because we don't need to hear any of it. Really, we can just look at it since we're not video based here. Okay, skip that. Yeah. All right. So if you
strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. Now, am I the only one that felt like there was something off about this eclipse that happened between the 13th and the 14th of this month. For some people, or maybe a lot of people, this may have been just your normal every other day and you did not notice anything outside the norm. But for me, not only did I hear something,
How long
but I
is it?
also
Oh, it's
felt
15
something, and I
minutes?
also
Yeah.
saw something.
You can
And
skip
for
ahead to
me,
the actual
again, I did not have
the
my
clip.
phone
So
on me. My
yeah,
phone was at home
right
and
about there, right there.
Right there.
Yeah. All right, here we go. No, watch to the right of the or above it and to the right. They'll zoom in, but there we go.
Oh. So it's like a Chinese lantern kind of thing, but if Chinese lantern
Could move. Like they just usually.
really, it's like a school of fish.
Yeah, well, that's why people are saying, kind of like tadpoles, right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
are
it's like
also people in the comment section of her video that are also saying they've noticed this too. Like this individual here saying,
So
okay.
this is someone else, I think, here to see if I think there's 2 or 3 different people that played different videos of it. You can you can mute it if you want, and then we can just play it in the background and kind
I
of
just
watch
noticed
it
the
while
pictures I took last night
while we're
of the
talking.
moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
take that off. Just
Yeah, there you can just play it in the background, and then we
So-
can just discuss it. And then when something pops up, then you can.
yeah,
Yeah,
actually see what they were talking about. It looked so how would you fake that? That's what I always ask.
Right.
First.
Well,
Can I fake that? Can I do it myself?
yeah. And in this situation, I would say, that's not one you can fake, right? Like sometimes you're like, oh, maybe it's drones or whatever, right? But there was like 50 objects or something. So this is a separate person that's also recorded the same thing. Just judging by their, voice, I would say that this is Americans, right? But look at that. See, that's totally moving in like a school or something, right? There's even more on the outside. And it's
Okay. So how I would fake that is a drone with a string and then a light and then a string and then a light and then a string and then a light.
like
See, and then a way to release it. That's what it kind of looks like.
But they're moving way too fast. They're totally moving way too fast to be drones, like any kind of commercial drones, right? It could be military drone maybe or something, right? I mean, when you're looking at the distance they're covering here, right?
Oh, I got it. I think I got it. Those are parachuters with lights on them.
Parachute, look at they're going back up. Look, they're going back up.
Yep, that goes with that theory. Yeah,
Look at how fast they're going, right? Like,
yeah, and it looks like dust in the wind, but like,
yeah,
or like fireflies that are caught in a windstorm.
right.
Where they all just kind of move together. It's moving like a flock of birds.
Yeah. Now, see, but it's also moving almost organically, right? So if you look at, say, like footage of Chinese drones or something like that, where they're all going in a giant pattern where they make the Chinese flag in the sky, they're like dead on precision, right? This seems almost too sloppy to be coordinated drones, right? This seems like some sort of like like if it was birds, right? Where it's like they're moving together, but a little bit off, right?
What if their drones having a hard time with the wind? Right? Like wind's not the same all the time.
If we were going to go with a drone theory, I would say, if anything, you could say that maybe they were drones and the interference they're getting is from like solar flares. We're getting intense solar flares and there's no protection from our magnetic field, and it's fucking with their antennas and like causing them to like get all buggy.
Balloons with LEDs in them.
Look how many there is though, right? I mean, if you count those quick, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20, 30, 40, there's at least like 50 there.
There are some messed up people that would put an LED in 50 balloons and just like release them at night.
Look at these things. This is very similar. This was caught on just a weatherman was talking about it, but like there are people catching these like serpent looking things flying through the sky like during storms and stuff.
Yeah. That's something.
Here, you'll see a close up here. See, look at it.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah.
So I've been hearing about this since like 2006.
Sky serpents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the grumblings around people, like when you get in circles of people. Obviously, you and I, we made a thing of it talking about these kind of things. So it was only a matter of time it came up. But yeah, even as far back as then, like, man, you see them. They fly by. There's some video, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Something in my memory.
Yeah.
And then here they're back on some videos. Good to see. I hope one day we catch one.
Well, I remember like seeing footage, probably around the same time, 2006, 7, and there were, UFOs, but they were saying kind of like these sky serpents, but it looked like an inchworm, basically. You know how an inchworm moves along, right? Like,
Yeah.
kind of like moves into like a U shape, and then it like stretches slow, and then keeps doing that. And it was like in the sky doing that, like flying through the air, but it was like spinning around and kind of inchworming in the sky. And like people are zooming in on it with, shitty cameras, of course, right? But it's all pixely and whatever, but you can see it's a tube-like structure, and it's like bending like a worm for some reason,
Yeah.
That's why people were calling it this. But you think, okay, we're seeing that now. We're calling them sky serpents. Meanwhile, they had legends of this back, fucking in the 1700s, 1600s, go back wherever. And they're talking about fucking seeing, sky serpents and all kinds of shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And how many different ancient cultures were like what do you call it? Like revering the serpents, like serpent worship,
Yeah, the caduceus. Well, all medicine.
Oh yeah.
The symbol for medicine is
yes, yeah.
the staff with two serpents
the
on
double
it.
helix.
Yeah,
It's the same thing too.
but it's two snakes.
It's two snakes, yeah. But like when you look at a DNA strand, that's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like it was represented in ancient times as the snake on the, what was it called?
Caduceus.
Caduceus.
Yeah. But they had that, the symbol for medicine, before they knew what DNA was.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So, but how? Right? Who told them that? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was like down to somebody genetically altered us, they would know what DNA strands look like, right? And then that would be like preserving the knowledge kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was the Greeks, very specifically. Like any more on the wise, like I'm kind of fuzzy on that, but
I think that it was Egyptian.
It was back from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the word caduceus I can see being like their kind of language.
We can find it out.
But then again, I'm kind of ignorant to it. Oh yeah, taking out the telephones.
Yeah.
I figure
We can find these answers super fast now. Caduceus. That's the only problem. The hardest thing's going to be how to spell that. Do you think it's a C or a K?
Here, I'm gonna try to hook on to Bluetooth here.
Here, let's just ask it. It'll say, when did the caduceus first appear in history? So it's Caduceus. The staff with two intertwined serpents first appeared in ancient Mesopotamia and Greek cultures. There you go. You guess you were right. Sumerian and Akkadian originally, then moved into Greek, then classical Greek. I guess that's what we're kind of thinking. 5th century, right? Like,
Yeah.
so that was like the third iteration. But yeah, so Sumerian and Akkadian, that's like 3000 to 2000 BCE. So that's basically as far back as we go. Be nice to see if if something like that popped up, if they ever fucking got through Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah.
And see if there's anything like that on any of those fucking
I
pillars.
bet. Yeah. But actually, maybe we should be asking AI. Okay.
Please be gentle with us.
Bring in another guest. Oh, hey, I'm Kyle.
Nice to meet you, Kyle. What's on your mind tonight?
I wanted to know about the symbol of caduceus.
The caduceus is that iconic staff with two snakes winding around it, topped with wings. Historically, it's linked to Hermes, the Greek god of trade, eloquence, and trickery. It's often confused with the rod of Asclepius and a symbol of medicine. The caduceus has become a symbol of commerce and negotiation, especially in the US. Fascinating, huh?
Didn't have to do with medicine?
That's a common mix-up. The rod of Asclepius, with a single snake and no wings, is the true symbol of medicine and healthcare. The confusion stems from the US military's use of the caduceus for its medicine, which led to widespread adoption. But traditionally, it's the rod of Asclepius for medicine. Intriguing history, right?
Okay, so can you tell me about the medical one?
Absolutely. The rod of Asclepius is named after Asclepius, the Greek god of healing and medicine. It's a simple staff entwined by a single serpent. This symbol represents the healing art and the renewal of life as snakes shed their skin. It's widely used by medical organizations like the World Health Organization and symbolizes medicine and healthcare around the world.
So the snake was only because a snake can shed its skin?
Yep, exactly. That shedding represents renewal and rejuvenation, which aligns perfectly with the healing process in medicine. The snake's ability to renew itself made it a fitting symbol for health.
Okay, that's enough.
Did you run out of Chat GPT?
No. I just got kind of tired of his voice. But yeah, I got it mixed up. But still, it's a serpent.
Yeah.
It's a serpent as a symbol for our medicine.
And then, I mean, you look back at like a bunch of those old, religions like Sumerian around that time, like they were like really into serpents, right? Like serpent worship. And then like even in Mexico and all that, like Aztecs, right? Like they've got that serpent mound and like, when the equinox happens and like the shadow fucking goes down, it looks like a giant serpent going down the temple and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they were obsessed with serpents. There's all kinds of like statues of like serpent people, like that they've uncovered in like, places around the world.
That's right. And they say that the original race, they say, I don't mean to say that.
Some say
There was a story that was out of Sweden or something like that this guy actually had a chance to meet. Oh, sorry. Can you reach over? Let the puppy out. Sorry, dog. Okay, I guess she doesn't want to.
Fickle.
But yeah, she is. Well, anyways, this guy in Sweden met a humanoid lizard person.
Sure.
Forget her name. Doesn't matter. Anyways, that the dinosaurs evolved into like us.
Yes.
And there was cataclysm that drove them underground to escape it.
Right.
And after a while underground, they did come above ground, but they were so used to their cities below ground, they didn't need like up above ground, which is like vacation spots and stuff.
Sure. Be like a lizard coming out to sun itself.
Yeah.
On a rock.
Yeah. It's when it got sick of artificial sun, they found a way to make that. Had to do with gravity or something like that. So they let us develop. Because there was different alien races and warring, and it was worth their while to hide underground. So that lizard person, that's where they come from. Right. And they, in the Bible, that's the lizard people coming up and going, yo, somebody made you, and you're made as slaves, and try to give the knowledge, and that made God angry, right? Like they say in the Bible. So I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of tracks. I like that.
Serpent related. Yeah.
I like how that puzzle piece fits. I just there's no factual evidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, for me, I always thought, okay, if dinosaurs are real, who knows if they, if they ever were.
Yeah.
But if they were, then what's to say that they didn't fucking, some of them make it through the extinctions, and then they've got millions of years to just evolve, and they start getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smarter until they turn into a race of people.
Yeah. Well, Lucia, that was the name of this lizard lady.
Okay.
So her explanation in that is you humans are ridiculous, that you found the right bones, but you put them together all wrong.
Right.
Like, but it makes logical sense that it would go like this, and like no. Like, oh, okay. And that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a really fair point.
Well, yeah. I mean, they still don't understand how we're put together, right? I mean, you look at like, okay, like to write out or say you had a computer program, all right, that had you wanted to 3D print a human, right? You put all the information to make a human on a hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
and it only works out to be twice as big as Windows XP.
Yeah.
That's all the information for a human. But
Right.
if you needed to make like, I don't know, like certain amoebas, like just like, bacterias and stuff like that, you would need like a gigabyte hard drive. Like they're like 10 times more complicated than a human. So you go from a thumb drive to needing a hard drive for all the space just to make this like, like a little germ in a petri dish. So how can it have that much more complex information to process than it is to make a human? Well, it's very weird.
Yeah.
When you think about how complex we are, how our brains work and all that, and to work it down into just code to write, if you were going to just 3D print it. And like here, humans are like easy to make, but forget about making that fucking bacteria, because that's way too hard.
Well, I've always seen it as the amoebas and stuff were the first things that were here, right?
Right.
So they're the most complex. And just like any seed, it needs to unfold into the thing and take resources to unfold into it.
Right.
That one amoeba wanted to, or cell inside water in the ocean, wanted to do stuff. And that's like amplified over and over again. We're a colony of many of those amoebas, all working in tandem to get done what it wants to get done, which is experience the world.
Right.
So everything living inside of us is super complicated, but we're not, because it's all working in tandem to do what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our colony, our village of different cells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that. But then like, even, other animals and stuff too, are more complex than us.
Yes.
I think a jellyfish. I think jellyfish are like more complex than us. When you think about like, what's involved in a jellyfish, they don't even know how they work, because I think they're kind of like earthworm. Like, if you chop it in half, it'll like grow into 2 jellyfish or something.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of other animals have much better superpowers than we do.
And I think I had heard something about like jellyfish, like basically they just live forever.
That's
true.
true.
Yeah. They don't have any kind of aging mechanism to them. So they just exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's immortal jellyfish.
Yeah. So
they do go into a larval state. They regress and then they grow back.
Right. So like, imagine if it just comes down to like unlocking genes and crossing genes, it's just a matter of like, oh, well, we're going to fucking cross a human with a jellyfish immortal gene. Right. And then there goes your fucking, your telomeres and all that shit that make us age. all of a sudden they just like they're coated with something, and you just stay young for forever until you get into, you know, some sort of machine that like can artificially age you, maybe, and like bake you a little longer.
Well, if you do the same as the jellyfish, your 100th birthday would be called the Great Bounce. And then that's the day you start regressing. And then you go backwards.
Yeah, fucking Benjamin Button style.
Yeah. Until you hit baby, and then you would bounce back the other way until you're killed.
Yeah.
You can keep bouncing back and forth. You better have some friends because you're heading into baby territory.
Yeah.
Seem like your old territory if you think of it.
Yeah. But I mean, they could easily find something that would, like, you know, just trigger it, you know, like say you put you in a machine, you pump you full of photons somehow, and all of a sudden you start, you know, regressing in age. And then just when you start to get like too far down, they put you in the machine. Now you're going forward, you know, and then like, oh, gotten too old. Now you're going backwards, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
keep doing that, and it's like, yeah. But then the companies, so that's the thing, the companies that owned that shit, right? It's like people always think about like, oh yeah, the world will be a great place, right? But like everything's ruled by corporations, and they're the ones that do all this research, right? So there's no way, like, if anyone ever fucking uncovered like the secret, you know, elixir to life, you can guarantee fucking regular people will be the last to hear about it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's the kind of thing that you probably wouldn't even hear about until like, you know, it was too late, basically. Just, you know, you've got slews of people who are immortal, and then people are uncovering shit like, are these people immortal? Like, you know, and people would be like, oh, are they vampires? And there'd be all kinds of speculation, right?
Yeah.
And then it would come out, you know, somehow that like, oh no, these guys have been fucking with their genes and whatever. And now like certain groups of people are like living way longer than they should. And then if they're billionaires, you know, like they keep just collecting money and working the system, and fucking eventually it just gets more and more concentrated into fewer and fewer hands.
Mm. Yeah. I liked, have you ever watched the show Altered Carbon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved their, like,
They only did 2 seasons.
I kind of like it when they do that. Like, even I thought the show had a bit of it stretched a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought it was cool because it was like the whole first season, right? It was about like, you know, how you could slip your consciousness into like a suit, basically, right?
So in doing that was having the memory card on your spine.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like basically incorruptible, because also I think they could back it up.
Yeah.
Right. You know, so like that was the whole thing. The billionaire guy who was dying at the beginning, he had his fucking shit was backed up in a satellite or something, right? So
in
nobody
a cloud.
so nobody could corrupt it on him, right? So even if he died and someone killed the original to try and take him out, then he would have a, you know, secure backup, right?
Yeah.
But for some people, if that fucking chip dies, then, you know, that's the end of you, right?
Yeah.
But if it's in good condition, you pretty much live forever.
Yeah. And if you're rich enough, you can keep on buying new bodies.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I thought it was cool because, like, you know, the first season, they got the guy who's like, he was basically an Asian guy who was like now in the body of just some random white dude, right?
Yeah.
And then like the second season, then they gave him like his Asian body back, right? They had a separate person that was the actor for that person, right? So I thought that was kind of cool because it's like the exact same show and character, but like a different actor playing him, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then I was hoping they were going to come back for a third season. Oh no! So I think they made him a black guy in the second one, right?
The Falcon dude.
Yeah, yeah. What's that guy's name? Mike.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name, but like
I thought, yeah, the Falcon dude.
the Falcon dude.
Yeah, Captain America now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I thought that was cool. Yeah, the first one he's like this this random white guy, then he's the black dude, and then like at the end of the season, then he became his original self, which was the Asian guy, and that's what season 3 was going to be, but it never came back.
Yeah, it was good. Like I thought it stretched a bit, where just like we have to have boobs and like
they should have more boobs.
Yeah, maybe it should have had more. I don't know. That's a personal taste thing.
Yeah.
But I did like the idea of the guy lost his wife for a while and he's heartbroken, but then his wife comes back as a fat guy with a red beard.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Like, honey, I missed you. And he's like, Yeah, like you know it's undoubtedly your wife. Just like the mannerisms, the talking, like, but on the skin is of a very unattractive man. Maybe she wants out for real this time.
Let's see.
Yeah, maybe just leave it open for a second and chill.
Okay.
See?
She doesn't like me looking at her when she's trying to leave.
Yeah. I was playing with her and I accidentally burped and that she was offended.
She just got all upset and walked away.
She walked away and then like looked back with like a look and then grabbed the ball. And I'm like, okay, you're coming back to play with the ball. Bypassed me, went right to the wife. I was like, holy shit, cold shoulder. Fucking
I don't want
princess. Yeah, I know. It was an accident. Yeah. So anyways, that was a pretty good segue into the thing that I was researching. Oddly enough, looking for like the blood moon thing.
Yeah.
It was just a trip down the internet, and I found out about a family called the Black Donnellys.
Yes, I know them.
You've heard of them?
Aren't they Canadian?
They're from Ontario.
Yeah.
They're from Lucian, Ontario.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
the bit of or I can't even say it, but yeah, they're local, kind of near London.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And they were a family that was lynched,
Yeah.
murdered,
Yeah.
the entire family.
Yeah. Because they were like, real fucking ruckus makers in the community.
So they say.
So they say. Yeah.
But they also like, well, I was looking for treasure. And that's one of the things they say is that they buried treasure. They're involved in crime. There's buried treasure out there, and it's theirs. There's no forested areas around the farmstead property, but it was an interesting story. Like, are you aware of like the story of how it happened?
I am. You'll have to refresh my memory because I've got a book on it, like that's about like the history of the Black Donnellys or something like that. That like I read a while back, several years ago, and all I recall was it was like seemed very reminiscent of the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like it was like another family that they had a feud going with.
The Farrells.
Yes, right. Okay. And
Yeah.
so they had this thing going on where like they burnt their barn, then they came back and fucking got in a feud with them, and like
Not exactly.
yeah.
Not exactly. So the way it happened was there was, and also keep in mind the kind of world we live in today and the kind of problems we face today. So wrap your mind around this one. The Donnellys left Ireland because there was famine and they were refugees.
Right.
They move in, and because they're refugees, the Canadian government didn't do, like at this time was 1850.
Right.
They did fuck all for come on in. And the Donnellys, there was like maybe 8 of them. They all stood on like a patch of ground and just went, I get okay. And they built a house.
Right.
And much later, as the Canadian government's coming in, they sell the land to the Farrells, and they sell a plot of land. Like, here, I have money.
Yeah.
So they had to tell the Donnellys, okay, you're out.
Yeah.
So they're fighting, and they were known, just like you said, they're known as like if you tell them anything, they're probably going to punch you.
Right.
Right? You couldn't approach them. So what the pharaohs said was, I'll lease the corner of the land to you. But they still started fighting with the government and like, hey, you told me to come into your country. I came in, I set up shop, and now you're telling me
You sold it out from under me.
yeah, where am I supposed to go?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess they were expected to show up at some kind of building and then try to seek a status, go through the process. But they just like started walking and like, oh, ground, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why the townspeople didn't like them.
Sure.
And then the Canadian government settled by splitting the land in half. So the pharaohs paid full price for half the land and gave the other half to the Donnellys for free.
Right.
Yeah. So in closer to 1880, through much like fighting and animosity in the community, there was some kind of community event, maybe like a church thing, and like there was a party. Well, James Donnelly and Paul Farrell, they got into a bit of a spat, and then James somehow has picked up a spike of some kind, stabbed him through the eye, and killed him.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So nothing, or I guess they were waiting for investigation or something. But the townspeople came with torches, killed all of them, set the place on fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Vigilante
And
justice.
then it was just done. So that's why there was speak of there being treasure, because they were so rough, and I think because there's so many rumors. One of the rumors was crime and the kind of stuff that they were into, and then they would have quite possibly hid some gold or some cash somewhere in the area.
Yeah. That's interesting. I bet you there's all kinds of people that go through there with metal detectors and shit like that.
How many people come across the story and then go out there with a metal detector?
More than you would think, probably.
Probably.
All it takes is one, really. And I bet you there's probably a dozen people at least.
If I think I'm the only one going out there, that's kind of thinking pretty highly of myself, eh?
Well, I mean, I read that book, so I mean, like people have probably known about it for like a long time.
Yeah, but
I bet around there, that would have been the big legend. Like if you actually lived in that area, like, oh, the Black Donnellys have their treasure, right? And you were a local kid or something, you guys would be like checking that shit out every weekend,
yeah,
riding your bike down there, fucking looking around, just like, oh, where's a spot? Looks like they might fucking hide that shit.
yeah. Like,
No.
well, that's why I got interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, that kind of attitude. I'm always looking for that kind of attitude. Like, where can I act like a little boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gold, buried treasure.
Buried treasure.
Yes, I want buried treasure. It'd be great if I could ride my bike there.
Yeah. That's why we're all so obsessed with fucking Oak Island. That would be like the ultimate treasure. And there's definitely something going on there. It's just a matter of what.
So, I'm thinking of, I don't know if I can quite get in, but the guy I go to karate with, that's normally in Newfoundland.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Newfoundland? Yeah. Over on the East Coast, close to Oak Island.
You should be able to tell by the way he's talking. If he's talking, you can't really understand what he's saying, then he's from Newfoundland.
Well, he grew as a kid. He grew up there, and then as like teenager, grew up here in Hamilton, and he bounces between the two. Like he actually works in my office half the amount of time.
Oh wow!
Because he goes over there, and he could work online.
Right.
So like, what's the big deal? He's valuable.
Right.
So he was able to swing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you can get it. And yeah, if I had a chance, like, I don't know the East Coast, but if I had a chance and he met a guy that goes there, is involved in some kind of way, and like, hey, you want to go? I'll bring you over there. No, he's like, I think I'm going to go. I'm like, shit, I'm coming with you. Of course. I want to see Oak Island.
Yeah. So they're gonna get you into Oak Island. You think possibility?
I wouldn't mind just like going to his neck of the woods to visit it.
Well, because have you ever seen it before, like online or anything?
Oh,
on the show?
I've watched the show here and there.
Well,
Yeah.
so like the kind of the layout, right? There's like you get to the island and there's like one really narrow road, right? That's like the size of a car, basically.
Yeah.
And that goes all the way out to the island. There's like a big fucking gate that is closed down so that you have to have permission or whatever to even get on the island. Then it'll open up and like there's I don't know what the pass situation is or whatever, but I know it's really hard to get on there because it's private, right?
Yeah, it's like an invitation kind of thing.
There's like 3 people that own the island or something, right? 3 or 4 people.
I think one of them's called the History Channel. So quite possibly, like if they're paying for the people to go there and film the show,
Well,
then
they're only paying
they're
for
an
those guys, those 2 guys that own that one portion of the land. And I don't know if those
True.
guys owned it or they're leasing it to try and get it from the guy who owns it. Because I know those guys that live on the island, those guys have been there for like fucking 50 years or whatever. And they've been looking for that treasure the whole time.
If there's anybody else holding out, like, how do you not take a shine to those guys and just be like, yeah, come on, look for it?
Yeah.
Or like set up my own thing in my own channel. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry
I'm sure
about
they
your
could
luck.
now.
Yeah. I'm Oak Island 2.0.
From what I'd heard, from what I'd seen, when the show was first starting, it seemed like that's kind of what they were doing for money, was kind of just like parsing out their land and letting people come look for the treasure, basically. Like someone would pay and then be like, yeah, you can have this portion. You guys can dig around there and look for it and whatever, right?
A claim.
Yeah, basically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're staking a claim. This is my dirt to dig in. And there's usually rules around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there was like the money pit, right? That's where it all started. So like that's where everyone wanted to try and get around, right? Because they're like, that's the fucking zone where something's definitely going on. I haven't even watched that show in so long. Like, I wonder if they've found anything. Like every once in a while, I kind of check in, and it's like, oh, they found some coins. They found some fucking, one time they found a Roman sword, which was really interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So
all evidence points to, from what they've found so far, even if it's stuff that's been like planted,
right,
just for show purposes. I don't think so personally. I want to believe in it. I remember reading the Oak Island. It was a Reader's Digest.
Yeah, that's the same thing. That's
I
what got
remember
that.
it.
Yeah, me too.
I remember from the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I had it in my house. It was just a best of Reader's Digest.
Yeah.
And they had the story and diagrams of it and everything, right?
Oh, we talked about it as a family.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, spoke about it.
Yeah.
And, like, it's over here near in Canada. And like, wow.
That very article is the reason those guys bought that fucking thing, right? Because they always talk about it like, oh, yeah, like I first read a Reader's Digest article on it. I was like, that's the same fucking one I read.
I can clearly picture the diagram of the different like levels of water of the trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Digging through and like, here's where they got to. And then after they broke through that seal, it also had some like writing on it, right? Like some hieroglyphics or something on it, on some stone. They broke through that. And then all of a sudden it flooded the chamber. And then since then, they've never been able to fucking have it dry. So
they found some period appropriate the evidence there is what I've just kind of gleaned, is that their hunches are correct.
Yeah, well, so the most likely theory, it seems so far, is that originally it was like, 2 islands, like one big one and then a little one here. And then, the Templars, I guess, came through with their pirate ship full of treasure and fucking brought it in between the 2 islands and then moored it there and then destroyed the ship purposely.
Yeah.
So that they locked that off. So it became a fucking marsh. So like it went from fucking being an island to like they cut it off so that they could, drain all the water from it. And then they built all that fucking shit and then flooded it so that like, they could fucking get in there and hide their shit, right? So because they've got some sort of system of pipes or something that's feeding that trap. So when they broke through that one level and it flooded the chamber, the reason they can't get the water out is because it comes from like the fucking lake there, and like it always just refills the fucking thing. So they've got to like cut off the bay how it originally was, basically, or when they crashed this ship supposedly, and fucking drain all that water, and then it won't reflood the chamber.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing like 5 years ago. So I don't know where they ever got with that. I really want to check it out.
Yeah, I wonder where like it would come. Like you would hope, or I guess they would hope that they were able to like look out in the ocean or the lake and like, oh, there's the hole. We'll just throw a big rock in it.
Yeah.
And like, oh, finally, fuck, that was really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where my sights are set on, if I had to like break new ground and like really look for something cool,
Mm-hmm.
Manitoulin Island.
Where's that?
Just north of here, actually, in the lake above us in Superior.
Cool.
Yeah, there is. That is the only place in the world that has an island in a lake that has an island on that lake with a lake on that island with a lake on the island. It like goes down like 4 times like a Russian doll.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's that big, hey?
Yeah. Yeah, huge island. And then like you go there like, wow, it's got its own lake on the island. On a lake. On an island on a lake. And it's a major copper deposit.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like if you want to find some copper, that's where you go. The natives saw it as a spiritually important place.
Mm-hmm.
The UFO lore is that these Anunnaki that made us, that we were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
it was not gold. Well, they were after gold. The gold is very useful, but copper is way more useful to them than gold. They
Right.
want copper like times 10. And that whole island is like this, like a copper super house.
Right.
If you want to make a motor, if you want to do anything magnetic, like copper's the shit, right?
Yeah.
Copper makes this world go round. Copper and gold both, but like more copper. You can't do nothing without
Yeah.
copper.
And silver.
Yeah.
Gold, silver, copper. They're the 3.
we don't use too much silver in our stuff, I don't think.
Well, they still use silver iodine, right? When you're in the hospital,
Yeah.
right? For babies and stuff. Like when a baby's born, they put silver iodine drops in their eyes to like get rid of infection and stuff. Yeah.
Colloidal silver.
That's basically what they're doing.
I know. It's useful in some areas.
Well, it's an antiseptic, right?
Mhm.
So like that's why they use it still in hospital. So you can imagine like when people are like drinking it and whatever, they think it's a municipal benefits. I could see how that could work.
I can think of one lady who killed herself on that stuff.
Was it she turned blue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's true. It happens.
Yeah. Well, so I learned that basically they're doing this colloidal system, right, where you have like a battery and it's got like the negative and the positive, and then you put it on top of like it's connected to the battery, and then it connects to a gold or silver or whatever your metal that you're using. And when you put that on there, it fucking, burns it off under the water basically, and like fuses into the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you do it incorrectly, then it has these giant, large chunks that come out, and your body doesn't really know how to process them.
Oh.
So that's why you turn blue. Is basically you're getting it, but your body's not processing it. It's just storing it, right? And it's starting to poison you basically. But if you do it properly, then it's just fine, and it has a lot of municipal benefits for you.
Yeah. Well,
Medicinal.
the lady I'm thinking of was also an alcoholic. So, like, on top of the colloidal silver, like, her liver was just shot.
Oh,
to
yeah.
hell.
She'd destroy herself one way and be like, well, I'm taking my vitamins, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
okay to drink.
Thinner than anything, could barely walk. People carrying her around everywhere, and just like cis everywhere.
Ugh.
And well, maybe in my mind it's more exaggerated than it was,
Sure.
because like it just looked so horrifying to me, of just like what a wretched existence.
Yeah. And then it's going to just trigger more because you're like, oh, I got all these fucking problems. I got to drink more colloidal silver, and then that'll create more problems. Oh, fuck, I got to up my intake.
But that's what she peddled online.
Sure.
And so she kept drinking it to prove that it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like this whole cult thing.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of weird shit out there.
It made like 300 grand. And then they got into like an argument with a guy who he said, I quit, I'm out. So like, hey, fuck you, we're leaving. And they went to Hawaii.
Right.
And he's like, the bank account's only in my name. And then it all like flamed out like elsewhere. And
Right.
she ended up dying. And then everybody left and they're like, hey, wait a minute. And he's like, yeah, legally, you got no leg to stand on. You didn't sign anything. Yeah. So one guy was smart enough.
Oh.
One guy was smart enough, even if it was on the backs of all the people that he sold snake oil to.
Right.
That's it. Who hopefully use colloidal silver properly.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. Warning. Yeah. Cults are dangerous. Going overboard on medicine is dangerous.
I watched this mini doc about this woman who got involved with this kind of cultish kind of group from the 70s called the Breatharians.
Breatharian.
Yeah, you ever heard of it?
Well, no, but I'm thinking it has to do with breathing of some kind.
Well, it definitely does. But so this is a philosophy that was espoused, I'm pretty sure it was during the 70s. And it's still popular now. Like, I guess it's a resurgence. But anyways, this mini doc followed this woman who did a YouTube channel where she became a breatharian and documented her journey. So a breatharian is a person who believes that if they breathe properly, they can get all the nutrients that they need from life just from breath. So they don't need to eat anymore. And, I think they barely drink water and stuff like that. And so the really good ones don't need to eat or drink anything. And so there's these gurus who teach this shit, right? This is where this lady learned it. I think this was probably around 2005, that zone that this woman died doing this. And because she was recording herself like, oh, I'm doing good today, and so she followed this whole thing. But there's these like gurus who are fucking teaching this shit. And they would, go around with like these ceremonies and have these people follow them around. And they would claim that they hadn't eaten in fucking 2 years or something. Like, I haven't had a bite of food in 2 years. And everything I get is from breathing and sunlight. That was part of the other thing. They have to go out and get lots of sunlight to get nutrients, right?
Yep.
And so these guys would like fucking go around and like, they're supposedly under watch all the time. So like people are like, oh yeah, like I've been following this guy, as part of his troop. And, I've seen personally that he's never eaten in fucking, 2 years or whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so an investigative journalist, or a couple of them basically found out that these guys were like fucking eating McDonald's in their fucking hotel rooms and shit secretly. Right. Like they were totally like eating. But they were telling all these people like, oh, all you need is to have peace and to do the breathing and you'll be able to get all the nutrients that you need. And so people were fucking dying basically. And so this lady, for whatever reason, was believing it. She was like, I think she was probably about, I want to say 60. So she was like older, lived by herself. And she was like kind of in her golden years. And she was like, oh, like I'm really interested in this breatharian work. And, I think it's really, really going to help my body. And so she's doing all this shit and like she's documenting it every day. And she's like, oh, I had a really rough day yesterday, but today I'm feeling a lot better. And it's tricky because, when you're fasting, it's good for you, right? Like it does a lot of really good shit for you. So you will see benefits at first, but then you get to that point of starvation and then you're tipping down into to the danger zone and goes fast after that, right? So eventually she just basically starved herself to death. She ended up fucking dying, right? But she was documenting her whole journey into killing herself, and all for this fucking breatharian shit. But people still do it. People are like, oh, fucking, I haven't had a bite to eat in fucking, over a year now. And
yeah, you know why you feel great is because you're supposed to be out hunting. Like that's your trigger to, like, you're going to, you got to go out to get food. That's your energy to, like, go get the food in your body.
right.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I always understood anyways. Yeah. Who knows? I'm just me.
Yeah, just me.
Yeah. The advice I got that I've been following all this time is all the answers you will ever need are always simple and never easy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then when I think about, like, what the next,
That's true. Yeah, I could see that.
I use that with like the karate.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get in shape. I'm not gonna get in shape just joining a gym. Like, I am, but I'm not.
Right.
In that, if I go to a gym, it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of lazy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of an asshole. So, like, when I'm in a class, like, I'm accountable with other people.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I need that push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the whole point, I think, of like those kind of classes and stuff, right? It's like it kind of keeps you motivated, as being part of the group dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Even these gyms too. I mean, like, they make it a lot more accessible now, right? And people kind of get, caught up in the thing, and it's like an outing, right? Like you almost like look forward to it.
Yeah. Well, when it's goal oriented with other people.
Well, yeah, but that's when these big ones kind of come in. It's like, I mean, they're not people but it's still like-minded people,
Yeah.
You're going to the gym and it's like some people that they all want the same kind of goal of fitness and whatever. And then, like they'll help you out, whatever, you're doing some stuff. Hey, I'll watch you do your reps there or whatever if you need help.
Yeah.
Spotting you or whatever.
It got really popular for a while. It might be still popular. I don't know, where like a gay dude like eggs people on to music on like stationary bikes. What do they call that? Spin class or something?
Spin class, yeah.
Yeah, where a guy's just at the front, or like a woman just like, come on, guys, you can keep doing it.
Yeah.
And it'll be some like lame music. And
Yeah,
everybody like.
Those are at the YMCA.
See, I'm saying it like I'm so cool, but like it's something. Like, at least it's something. If people enjoy that, like, you're out there like doing something. Like, you need to be in a class.
That's why Peloton was so big, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
because it was a way of connecting.
Yeah, well, it was that accountability, right? You're in a class; it's a live thing, so they're looking at you, or they can see you're signed on and whatever.
Yeah,
so like, hey, come on, guys, don't quit now, right? And they're pushing you to go that extra 10 minutes or whatever, right? Because you're part of the class.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just, I want to do it now. I'm in it. I don't want to drop out. They're gonna be like, come on now, don't drop out. You can do it.
Yeah. See, and I just automatically want to shit on stuff, and like, no, that's not the truth. The truth is, I actually I need to be in a group setting to actually get anything done. That's how I operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So something else I saw that was cool, because I was looking for the blood moon stuff that was on here. Was a release, and I gotta verify this. A release of China's images of the moon from their rover.
Oh, interesting.
The dirt is brown.
Oh yeah. So it's like color pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't that kind of hurt your brain? So the dirt's, wait, it's not brown. It's like silver, isn't it?
Silver white. Yeah.
Yeah, even when I look up at the moon, I can see its color.
Yeah. Like, didn't we get color footage of the moon originally, the moon landing? Like, we could look it up right now. We can see the moon landing footage. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's fucking old dusty white.
Yeah, and then, you know,
Mhm.
it just doesn't line up for me. But, yeah.
You know, it's illegal to have moon rocks.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
It's illegal to have moon rocks in your possession.
Wasn't there a period of time in like the 90s when you can buy like maybe a little card with a small plastic bubble in it, and it's like, here's a piece of the moon?
That may or may not be true, but I would doubt it. And if it was, then tested now, I bet those would prove to be fake. Have you ever heard the fact about about Buzz giving that fucking chunk to the president of like Thailand or something?
Really?
Yeah, the president of some foreign country. I think it was like Thailand or something, but Buzz Aldrin, I believe, gave him a chunk of moon rock in like, I want to say like the 90s or something.
Okay.
It was like a thing like, oh, yeah, Buzz Aldrin gives it as a gift to the prime minister. And so they had it in a museum in their country for the longest time, like this gift from him. And then reporters, like, in like, I want to say early 2000, cracked the case. They're like, oh, they're going to test the moon rock to see what kind of fucking things it has. And it turned out it was petrified wood. Yeah. And I think that's not the first time that like they've tested moon rock and just found, oh, this is just like petrified wood.
But that's extra cool that it was Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
Because, like, hey, he was there. Maybe he brought a bunch of rocks home with him.
Yeah. Well,
I would kind of trust it. I was believing that story.
yeah. You
And
could
now the
think
Buzz Aldrin seems so much cooler.
he's trolling people. Here's a moon rock. He's standing out fucking.
Yeah, what do you get in
Thanks.
return?
Oh yeah, probably all kinds of shit. Probably honorary citizenship.
Yeah. Like not even going into nefarious territory.
No, free dinners. You probably got the trip there at least for free.
Yeah, just like, oh, you gave me a rock from the moon? Sweet.
Yeah.
Like, come. You're gonna hang out with me for a day.
Eat at the president's house.
I did find something myself that was kind of neat. Like, you were talking about some of the ancient underground stuff.
Oh, yeah, that triggers me. Okay. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Something new that
just came out. Someone was telling me today when I went into work, they're like, oh, did you hear what they released about the
Egypt?
Yeah, underneath the temple.
Struggling to express in words.
This is through our headphones, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
There we go.
Okay. Well, this guy's got his own intro music.
Is this a YouTube or
it's off of Reddit.
Oh, okay.
Which has been announced in relation to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau.
Yep.
And the plateau itself.
This is
so
it.
Incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative shattering that I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology. It was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga.
LiDAR?
Synthetic
Yeah.
radar Doppler tomography.
And satellites.
Explore the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high resolution, full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock. In fact, over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the
2 kilometers.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is coming out now,
Yeah.
but this is basically just confirming stuff that, people were talking about years ago, right? Like, I'm pretty sure like David Icke was talking about some crazy shit like that, where he's like, underneath the pyramids, they've got like, temples. Like apparently, I think it's that temple, or maybe it's one in China or something. But they're said like underneath it, there's a structure that's a giant lake of mercury.
Mm-hmm.
And like I forget what was at the center of the lake, but like there's like a fucking lake of liquid mercury there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they find mercury underground in like streams and lakes.
yeah. Like, can you imagine fucking a lake of mercury? That'd be fucking intense.
Yeah, the Chinese used to call it quicksilver.
Right.
Yeah. There was an emperor that thought if he ate it,
Yeah, drink it. Yeah.
he would get
Be immortal.
superpowers. Yeah, it just poisoned him.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, just like colloidal silver,
Yeah. I think actually there might have been a pope or someone too who did very similar thing.
Yeah. So I think if there's a lesson from today's show, it would be don't eat it.
Don't you put it in your mouth.
That was a smart song.
Yeah. I showed my kids that.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the mascot for that?
It was a
Bear?
no, it was two little mice. It was like puppets. Little mice
yeah,
that was singing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was a skit, right? That's what it started. So this is like for those who wouldn't know, this is like a commercial that was like in between when you're watching TV.
Yeah.
Right? It would come on as like an ad, but it was a short sketch. So it was about, I want to say like a minute, maybe 2 minutes long. And it would start with like, this one mouse who comes into the mouse house and his sister's there or something. And he's like, hey, sis, how's it going? They start to have the conversation like, oh, good. Yeah. Oh, I'm just hungry. And whoa, what's that? And it's a big chunk of cheese, right? But it's on a mouse trap. And so the one mouse is like, oh, wow, I'm going to take a bite of that. I'm hungry. And he's like, wait, we're not supposed to touch things like that. What do you mean? Remember what mom and dad said? Don't you put it in your mouth. They started it up, right? And then they go over the whole thing, like all the rules of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Classic.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like one of those like, the drug council or, so the equivalent of like MAD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think these underground structures are going to lead to the lizard people?
No. I doubt it. But it's definitely going to, uncover some interesting things if they ever get down there. Like I said, that's the thing. I mean, they've known about this for years. So to say like, oh, wow, we just fucking uncovered this, like.
But how did they back then get 2 kilometers down in stone?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's 2 kind of separate wild theories about the production of the pyramid. Some have said that it's like a mirror of itself. So like it goes into a fucking, a pyramid, right? But if you go down to the base and then go down, it just does this all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, so if you looked at it out of the it would just be a giant diamond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we're only seeing the halfway mark, right? But like it goes down the exact same, because back then there is, the Hermetic principle, right? That's what everyone followed, right? As above, so below, right? That was like what they mimicked in there when they're building things and whatever, right? So it would make sense. The second theory is that it could be basically the pyramid is the capstone of an obelisk. So if you think of it like, like the straight and they always have like the pyramid top, right? So we're just seeing it's buried, right? But then it goes down. It's just a giant fucking obelisk that just goes down for like, miles and miles.
Yeah, and it's being held up by pillars.
But no, it's just carved out of the rock even.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be like, I guess, since it can't really be, it's just surrounded by rock. So I'm guessing it would like probably be like, I don't know, maybe hollowed out of it. So you got your top and then they've just got like chambers all the way down. So it'd be like a hollow obelisk basically.
Yeah.
That you could live in.
Yeah. Some pale motherfuckers down there.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
some see-through skin.
If it's true, I mean, that it could go down, far and shit like that. And they're also saying like it connects a whole bunch of the places out there, right?
Yeah,
Like they're supposed to be connecting to other pyramids even and stuff, right?
that they were saying that. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
they all connect underground. Which is just bonkers.
yeah,
Why would they that guy was right. It's rough trying to wrap your head around it and trying to figure out the why.
yeah. Well, so someone else told me, like I was saying, my buddy told me this morning when I went in about it. He was like, "Oh, they just uncovered this crazy shit about Egypt," and I was like, "Oh, like what they get?" And he's like, "Oh, so apparently they uncovered two giant pillars as they were going down, and they were made of like some like stone composite or something like that. But basically, it's like they were speculating that's conductive."
Yeah.
So, and then it goes down to a giant granite base. So, and granite's got conductive properties too, right? So they're like, it lends credence to the idea that the pyramid could have been the power generating.
Yeah.
Yeah. With these two pillars, like one's a positive, one's a negative or whatever. So,
Yeah. Well, how do you make a spark in a barbecue lighter, right?
yeah.
You use a hammer to smack a small quartz crystal.
Yeah.
That's it. And then you get a small bit of electricity that shoots out of the end.
It's the pressure you're creating on it, right? So you can just imagine how heavy a fucking pyramid is, the pressure that would be putting on a quartz crystal, right? That would spark it.
Down in that quartz or that kind of stone underground. They knew a lot more. I do, like they have that theory that Cataclysm wiped out a super advanced civilization. It's shit like that makes me believe it.
Right. Well, John Hutchinson, right? The
Magnetic guy.
The magnetic guy.
Yeah.
Well, he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he built batteries, right? Like he made his own special batteries.
Oh, the forever batteries.
The forever batteries, right?
Yeah.
But that's the exact same principle, right? So you can imagine like how the piezoelectric effect would work with the pyramids. Could work the very same. They just have like some sort of setup where they've got all these rocks and fucking crystals set up so that there's continuous pressure, and they give off they're giant forever batteries, right?
Yeah.
So anything connected to them, maybe through this positive and negative fucking poles that they have underneath, that could be like, if it was all connected to a whole bunch of places, that's the way they could distribute this energy, possibly.
I've seen people take that forever battery idea and do some real testing on it, and it does okay, but not usably great. Like,
no, but I mean, he's only using like, batteries the size of a thermos. Can you imagine the size of a car or the size of a pyramid?
Well,
right?
I seen from a different person who credited Hutchinson. Like I took his idea and I ran with it, and he made one about the size of a thumb. And that powered a small fan. And he goes, "I've been having this fan going for 2 years." And all it is copper pipe.
Right.
He got about 4 inches. And then a mixture of 3 different kinds of cleaning solvents.
Sure.
All ground down, like mixed really well. And then packed in the copper around magnesium rod. And then just put an electrode, one on the copper, one on the magnesium, and away you go.
Yeah.
It's forever electricity.
Well, yeah. So there you go, right? And I mean, there's other people who have invented fucking devices that are like over unity devices, right? So these are things that like, they're not a free energy device, but they're a device that if you run it hooked up to electricity, then it will create more electricity than you put in, right? So it's like people don't think it's good technology because it's like, oh, okay, so you got to put like a battery in there to run this machine to generate more energy, right? And it'll generate more than the battery, so it'll output more than that battery put into it. But then you got to always have an energy source for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it kind of defeats the purpose. But if you had a forever battery running it, then you could hook up, a fucking, a free energy device that's running, like say a windmill. Basically, if you could power a windmill with a forever battery, it would just constantly fucking be generating energy for you, right?
Yeah. The future is kind of bright on the kind of shit we can do.
Yeah.
We just have to do it. We're too busy fighting. But
yeah. Well, I mean, once again, fucking nuclear power, that's like one of the greatest inventions we've ever come across.
it is.
And essentially the technology is just steam technology. That's all it fucking boils down to. A nuclear plant is just a giant steam plant. And so they constantly create the steam. It runs all the fucking turbines and shit like that. And that creates their energy,
So the idea in the Fallout universe of nuclear power being put to the max, like a house butler, they're kind of floating the idea that if you take a rock of uranium, put it in the middle of this thing, and then just kind of fill the top full of water once a month, that steam would keep on shooting out the side, but that'll be the electricity to run this robot butler.
Is that how that show works, or that game Fallout?
Yeah, that's the universe that the nuclear age went to the max, where they used it for everything.
Right, cars and fucking whatever, right?
Oh yeah, and they just weren't scared of it, but they also did nuclear war.
Right.
And that ruined everything. So you're dealing with the fallout.
Sure.
Dun, dun.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the way it could have worked, though, right? And that's the way it probably should have worked. I mean, if you think of nuclear as like, not having any side effects, like say in a perfect world where it didn't have any, detrimental effects, and you're running cars off of it and shit like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure there were patents for like nuclear powered cars and stuff like that, but they got shelved because they're like, oh, well, if you have a fucking fender bender, it could turn into a nuclear explosion, right?
I would need somebody to correct me, but I'm pretty sure in my scenario, the steam coming out of that butler would cause cancer. The steam coming off of radioactive water is probably going to give you some tumors, or it's not good for you.
Oh my God. So now that we've got this fucking hooked up, either tonight or next time, we've got to do some clips of Galen Windsor.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's that nuclear scientist that we talked about one time, and he like toured the country fucking like eating nuclear waste out of his hand, like with a Geiger counter, and like fucking putting it off and shit. And like he said that like he would like swim in the fucking rod baths and stuff like that every day.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, it was all because it's all distilled, fresh water and whatever, right? And it's heated by the rods cooling them off, right? So he's like, oh, it's so refreshing. Fucking every morning I'd go have a dip in that rod pool, and he's like, he'd drink the water. He thought it was fine, but like everyone else that was working around it would be like, oh my God, like, what's it like working there? You're going to get cancer. And he's like, you don't understand how nuclear power works. And, I mean, he made he's like one of 10 people that were cleared to, put together a nuclear plant. Like he's the guy that like would put all the pieces together so that it worked properly.
So I really hope that this isn't a situation like those breathology guru guys.
Well, I mean, maybe, but those are like people who are, trying to get people to follow their fucking, their cult or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's just going around as a professional, right? I mean, like, first of all, he's like got nuclear clearance. Like, it takes a lot to fucking do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, like, how smart would you have to be to fucking put together a nuclear plant, right? Especially if you're only one of 10 people who can do it.
Correct.
In all of America,
right?
And so I would imagine he's got a pretty good handle on how the science behind how it all works, right?
Still a human, though.
Yeah. Well, that's
we
where
got
he was.
faults.
He was going on basically that like the whole idea behind nuclear exposure and stuff is in. I think it's in two separate categories. Basically, like there's like the detrimental ones where you can get like intense radiation sickness and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes like very refined and like dangerous material for that. But nuclear, like what you're doing is in a factory, like say Chernobyl or something. He's like, he didn't say this, but like, when you have like the explosion, like at Chernobyl or something, you go back there now, should be, people are like, oh, it's a wasteland, right? For fucking 100 years, you wouldn't be able to do anything. But any place there's nuclear disaster, it's fucking 10 years later, the same as if it was a regular fire. They've got fucking shrubs growing there. There's fucking wolves coming in and eating other animals there. Now they're saying like, oh, Chernobyl has nuclear fucking wolves, right?
That's true.
Well, maybe it is, but it sounds like they're doing okay. Like if they really had nuclear wolves, it'd be like the wolves go in there, they eat contaminated food, then their next litter comes out and it's got fucking small limbs or something and they don't make it and they end up dying. That line dies off, right? Like you're not going to keep populating a fucking, a spoiled batch of, nuclear radiated fucking animals. And if you do, then his point, I think, was like, yeah, you can check. It's a Geiger counter. Yeah, you're getting radiation, but the radiation's not doing anything to you. It's not doing anything detrimental. The only reason you think it's detrimental is because they're telling you that it's detrimental.
But there are radioactive things.
Well, there is, but which ones hurt you and which ones don't, right? Like,
okay, yeah, that's the real point to underline is which ones hurt you and which ones, because there are some you could put in a cloud chamber, and you see the particles flying off of it,
right?
And
Yeah. Like they say, like a dirty bomb or something exploded, and you get it. Oh, you're gonna get cancer and all kinds of shit from all the nuclear, exposure.
Yeah, as I understand, the real science behind why that's dangerous is the cloud chamber, the particles that are shooting off of it, that shoots right through you where you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You don't even notice it. You won't see it, but it'll go straight through your DNA.
Yeah.
And tear it apart.
Yeah. I mean, there's a guy, I think, who got his head caught in the particle collider.
Right.
Like he stuck his head in there to fix something, and then they turned it on while his head was still in there or something. And he had a particle shoot right through his fucking skull.
Yeah.
And like, apparently, I think he was fine.
He was fine, but half of his face paralyzed.
Did it?
Yeah.
Probably came back though.
I don't think it ever did, because when they did the X-ray, the line that the particle accelerator burnt a hole right through like his cheek and then up through his brain.
So it was just like his super micro tiny hole. So it was like a bullet, but like, it would have been like a bullet hole or whatever, but it's like a micro bullet hole. So like, yeah, it didn't really hurt you because it was so small, but like you felt it.
Yeah, and it created like a small burn hole scar through that part of him,
right?
And it caused the one side of his face to droop down.
We'll have to look at that next time.
Yeah. There was Vietnamese guy, and it was it nuclear or a particle accelerator? Probably particle accelerator, and he got his hands in there for an extended period of time.
Ooh.
Yeah, they started to melt off because it destroyed the DNA. Oh. So the DNA was unraveling.
Right.
All the cells all of his stuff, his hands were turning to liquid.
That's wild.
Yeah. So how they fixed it was cutting holes in his stomach. And he had to keep his hands in his guts, his intestines. And it was the white blood cells and all the stuff from in there doing the repair.
Oh, wow.
Counteracting, like getting the DNA back on track.
That's wild.
Yeah. Saved his hands. It actually worked.
Wow.
Yeah. Quick thinking on the doctor's part, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Goes to show you, fuck the power of the blood cells.
The human body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild how much we can heal, right?
Yeah. I think they went off the idea that they're blind. Like if you cut off a finger,
Mhm.
it can't just grow another finger because they're blind. They go up and then they hold out their hands and that stops there.
Right.
And then they repair that.
Mm,
It would be nice if it knew like, hey, wait a minute, I know what a finger is.
right.
And then just regrow the finger.
Yeah.
On paper, it should work.
So that'll be the future, no doubt, of like, micro nanobots and shit like that,
Yeah. Well, have you heard that apparently the rumor is that if you take the lining of a pig's stomach, the inside, and like scrape it, you can get this like this white flaky stuff. And if you have a wound, you put that on the wound, it will heal 100%. Even if you lose a finger, it will grow that finger back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The inside of a pig's stomach?
Yeah. There's some kind of like stem cell or something.
Interesting.
Something in there that supercharges the human body to heal. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's a pretty inexpensive experiment, if you think of it.
Right.
I could probably go to the supermarket, get some pig stomach. I know for sure cow stomach.
Yeah. But I mean, that might have been pasteurized or whatever, which would have killed any of the good enzymes and all
that's
that kind
true.
of shit, right?
Yeah. Then that just went into beyond my comfort level because that would mean I'd have to kill a pig and
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
It's got to be a fresh kill.
I'm sure if I went to the killing floor, they would let me have one.
Leads credence to that, ideas of like Elizabeth Bathory, like back in the day, who would like kill all the fucking maidens in the village and like bathe in their blood, right? Because like the blood would fucking rejuvenate her skin, right? She was said like, oh yeah, I came out and she fucking make my skin all nice and white, and like that's what she thought kept her young. Probably did.
I feel like it's a little bit of don't you find it kind of acidic?
I don't think so.
Whenever I've like unfortunately like tasted my own blood,
Well, that's copper.
it's like
That's the copper.
yeah, that's a
taste.
metallic kind of.
Yeah.
I guess it really doesn't do anything to anybody's skin.
It's not quite alien style. It's like cut yourself and it's like starting to fire on the floor.
Yeah, maybe just like bleaching your skin a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a more humane alternative that she could have used.
Yeah.
But I can see blood. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yeah. I know. I mean, we know that it does rejuvenating, right? Because like they do that now. Like rich people just get fucking young people's blood put in them. That's like a thing they do at least once a month kind of thing.
There's a millionaire or billionaire that's going down that road.
Yeah, I'm sure one or more of them probably have a private fucking, what do you call it, assistant who just kind of stays tethered to them all times, and just like, who's that young kid that's always following him around? Like he just hooks up to him, his IV up to him every once in a while, fucking gets an infusion.
You're 100% right, and it's his son.
Oh yeah, okay.
His teenage son, I think, like at regular intervals, let's say once a month.
Yeah.
He
takes his son's blood because he doesn't want fucking mystery blood. That's why it has to be his son.
Yeah, it has his
Guaranteed.
DNA. His body would take it, and then he gets a transfusion of his son's blood.
Yeah, you can tell that guy's a freak for sure.
What if he's right?
Well, what's he right about?
Well, does it? Okay, that's a good point.
I think any blood, if you're going to use blood for something, any blood is going to be good. He wants his son's blood because he's probably a fucking, one of those, I don't even know what you call him, but he doesn't want to mix his fucking blood, because he's like, oh, like I only keep it in my family. We don't want any lower blood mixed with us,
Yeah.
Could be racist or fucking any number of things. Definitely classist. I don't want any of that swine blood mixing with mine. That's why he probably had a kid. Literally was like, I need like a fucking fresh blood source that I know is clean.
Oh, I would go opposite. I would go so hard opposite to that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want different from me blood.
Mm.
I want to try to get their attributes.
Yeah.
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 Like anybody, like I don't care what race you're from. If you're athletic,
Yeah.
you know,
That's what I pay more. Like I want fucking like,
yeah,
Usain Bolt's fucking blood or someone.
yeah, or then somebody smart.
Yeah.
Give me their blood
Stephen Hawking blood.
if you still have it. Is he alive?
No, he's dead, but they might have
Oh.
been storing his blood.
Yeah.
if it actually had any properties.
Oh, if I won the lottery, you
Yeah.
blew it all
Yeah.
on blood. Yeah. But after I take this, drink it or whatever, which we learned not to do.
Yeah. I wonder if that's true. Like, I don't know what the detrimental effects of drinking blood, but, like if you do drink it, it's said it gets you really high.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe they talked about that in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, but that was adrenal gland.
No, that was adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome, right.
The drug that they were into.
Yeah.
Before that, talking about that's what he was talking about. He's
Oh.
like, I gotta see this guy. He was gonna give me some blood. He said it would get me higher than I'd ever been. But I said I'd settle for some old-fashioned adrenochrome.
Was that from a bowl or
No, it's from...
they said they extracted it from a person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've seen like clips online too before of like TikToks and stuff of people who are in like labs and they like are like got their phone and they're videotaping like vats that say adrenochrome on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the only way to get it is from a living adrenal gland of a person.
Yeah.
Living at the time, right? Because once they're gone, then you don't get that thing. And not only that, but like the more fearful they are, then the more intense it is.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, you get like little kids and you get them really scared and then they harvest. And it's like the best you can get. And you can imagine like apparently there's a market for it, like an underground market for it, right?
Yeah.
Which is speculated at like, oh, why is there like 300,000 missing kids or whatever, just what Trump was talking about, right? Like there's 300,000 missing kids that they couldn't account for in these like statistics for immigrants or whatever. And he's like, if you ask me, I think they're dead. That's what he said.
He would know.
Yeah. Well, so 300,000, you can imagine like that could make a lot of fucking adrenochrome.
Right.
And it apparently like, the vat that I saw, on TikTok or whatever, they were saying like, it's basically a certain amount for the ounce or whatever. It's $1 billion. Because like it's, incredibly fucking difficult to like get and then, store probably too, right?
Yeah.
Because you got to keep it like, I think you got to keep it like really like, almost frozen.
Oh, yeah. All the best stuff you got to keep on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like saffron. Really hard to get. Really expensive.
I'm just mad about saffron.
Yeah. That's a lovely rumor. I don't buy it myself. Extracting adrenaline from young kids. Just sounds like sensational. But man, can you like?
Well, it does sound sensational, but then you think like, okay, like really, if there was like this underground network of all these people who are taking these kids and whatever, are they really just abusing them and then killing them to cover their abuse? Is that what all these murders are, or is there a little something more to it? Right? Is the actual like goal to murder them at some point?
Maybe. I think the goal is to break them into servitude.
So some for sure, but I mean, then you come to Pizzagate style where they're talking about like, like, oh, we're gonna have those kids in the or not kids, but we're gonna have pizzas in the room. Make sure it doesn't get too messy. Make sure all the pizza gets eaten. Don't leave one hot dog standing. Like this weird fucking terminology, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be in their best interest though to keep them going, keep them quiet. I'm sure like it can't be all of them that are just like I want them sad. So they must like shower them with some kind of like gifts or try to make their living situation normal.
I'm certain it's fear. Fear is the main driver. Also, because I mean they're control freaks, right? Like you can
Yeah.
imagine if you were a person who was going to buy a child or something for the purpose of nefarity, then like you're not going to be like treating them nice and then just like whack them, Oh,
Yeah.
here, have some candy, treat them really nice and slap them behind the head when they're not looking. It's going to be a power thing where there's just like, you want them to feel scared and you want to see them cry and you want to hear them scream for their mommy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's this video of what sounded like one of those guys who was involved in Pizzagate. I forget. One of them that was related to Clinton, like connected to Clinton. It was like her campaign manager or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's all these videos of this guy like playing clips of him talking on the news and stuff, and you hear his voice, and you even see him and whatever. And then there's this video that was circulating on the internet, and it's somebody that was torturing a child, and the child was locked in a fucking shower, like a glass shower. And the guy had his camera on it, and fucking it's all pitch black and just the light from his camera. And he's like slamming on the fucking door, and the kid is just screaming and crying like, help, I want my daddy. And he's like, I'm your daddy now. And he's like slamming on the thing, and the kid's just screaming, crying, and he's laughing. And fucking, it was, like all over the internet for a while.
Ugh.
No one knows anything about it. No one knows who the kid was, who the person was, anything like that. And there's lots of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Videos that pop up, like there's this other image of this girl who there's like this little girl and she's just smiling, and then there's another picture of her like the same frame, so it's like a close-up of her face, like kind of like her smiling like for a school picture, and then it cuts back to her and she's got like a bleeding lip and fucking a black eye, and she just looks really sad. And like if you do a reverse image search of that, you can't find there's no original image. Like if you were like, oh, someone photoshopped that or something, there's no original image. The only image that exists are the images of this person being abused. So that leads people to believe that this was a clip of somebody who's like, hey, check out my abuse, and they're sharing it in their network of pedophiles / possible killers, right?
Truckers.
Truckers. ice vein truckers.
Well, just by like some quick detective work, truckers travel all across the country, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have second families due to that reason. And I've heard some stories of some of them being killers for that reason too.
Like truck drivers?
Yeah.
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 I could see that.
Kill somebody on one side of the country, you're not back anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, and people are always trying to get in your car, right? You always see hitchhikers all the time, always trying to get rides. Truckers are like the safest people. Oh my God. One time I had a car breakdown when I was with some friends. We were on this dark fucking road, like no lights or anything. And we had to pull over because you couldn't see the road wasn't even painted. It was just like black, fresh asphalt. So like you couldn't fucking see anything in the dark basically. And my car had fucking, the headlights died on it. That's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah. And like the engine was overheating. So I like had to pull over, and we're fucking waiting, like we're in the dark. There's this side road, fucking no one's coming down it. And then like, I want to say like an hour later, one person drove by and kind of tried to help us, but then he drove away. And he was a very weird dude. He's like, I can give you a ride, but you have to ride in the back. He had a truck, like with the truck bed. And he's like, you'll have to ride in the back of the truck though, because my dog don't like people. And his dog's like standing in the window like, so you would have had to like sit in the truck like out in the cold for like fucking an hour to get to the nearest town, right? And this guy ended up just fucking driving away. He said he was going to help, and then he got in his car and fucking just drove off. And so we were like, oh shit, well, hopefully someone else comes. And then a truck driver came,
Mm.
and this truck driver, was like, oh yeah, I can help you guys out. So one of us had to go, and it ended up being me. So I was, because it was my car. So I was like, I'll go get the help, and then I'll be back. Might be a while, but I'll come get you. And it was like just about 2 hours it took for me to get there. But so I get in the truck with this guy, and he's talking to me, and he like kind of looks like almost like a fucking like a serial killer, like you'd imagine a serial killer to look, like long straggly hair, unshaven. He's like driving his truck, and he's all fucking, kind of like just an oddball. And he's talking to me, right? And I hear this rustling in the back of the truck, right? There's like a curtain separate, because they got the cabin in the back, right? And I hear this rustle in the back. I'm like looking over my shoulder. I'm a little like fucking worried about it. And he's like, yeah, well, I've seen a lot of shit driving on these roads. And then fucking whoosh, somebody pulls back the fucking curtain, and he's like, well, I see you brought some fresh meat.
Oh,
And he was another dude there, and I was like freaking right out. And then Buddy's driving the truck. He starts laughing, and he's like, oh, don't mind my friend Billy there. He's got a wicked sense of humor. And like they were switching off, right? One guy would drive, the other would sleep. And he's like, yeah. And he's explaining what they do, right? But like in my pocket, I had a fucking little flip out knife, and it was like flipped out. I was just ready to fucking jab it in this guy's fucking eye.
yeah.
But oh man, I was like fucking just like right on. They probably could tell like I was freaking right out. But like what a way to get you,
Oh yeah.
Oh, I see you got fresh meat. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, don't refer to me as meat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary. No way. No.
Yeah, it made me think. I was like, yeah, maybe there's some fucking
It happens.
some truth to that idea that these, like some truckers are.
Yeah. Yeah. I read the Marilyn Manson book when I was younger, and that was part of it where they were talking to a kind of vagrant kid that got backstage,
Mm-hmm.
and he admitted to truck driver. They're like, hey, can we get a ride? And then the truck driver pushed him out, and his sister was stuck in there, and he just drove off, and he hasn't seen her since.
Really?
Yeah.
So you told him that like fucking some trucker basically stole his sister while they were hitchhiking?
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a fucking, vagrant, right? Like you guys are like just like kind of hippies or something. You don't really have any connection to anyone, no possessions really, just whatever's in your backpacks, and you're traveling along.
Or even worse.
No residence, right? That's the
Yeah.
main thing, right? So it's like, okay, so like, yeah, he pushes you out. Like if you don't have a cell phone on you, you got to wait till the next person picks you up, whenever that is, or you get to the next town.
Yeah.
Then you call the fucking police. Then you put in the report, and they're like, okay, well, who? Well, I don't know. It's a truck. It was a gray truck. Like,
Yeah. And who are you?
yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, well, who do I call when I find your sister? Sorry, like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I'll check in with you every couple of weeks. I'll call and see if you heard anything. Like
It's just rough. It's rough all around. Sometimes photos. There was some kind of tale of like finding in a truck driver who passed away, and there was like a photo of a missing girl or something like that tied up.
oh, really?
Yeah. And like it's a story on the internet, so you're kind of like, yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Maybe true, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean I'm not vigilant around truckers, right?
Yeah.
Like your story.
Yeah.
There we go.
But I mean, to be honest, I would have been like that with anybody, right? Like you could have got into anyone's car, and I would have been like fucking really worried about like, oh shit, is this a crazy person or something, right?
Yeah.
And I actually felt safe. That was what threw me off, was because I was like, oh man, I'm so glad it's a trucker. Because I
Really?
well, yeah, because I think of them as fucking, like, I mean, they've got trackers on their fucking cars, I mean, in my case especially, I also had witnesses with me, right? So it's
Yeah.
like they saw me get into this truck, they saw the guy that I was with, but other people might not be so lucky, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, just imagine a Jeep pulls over and fucking, some dude and his wife, oh yeah, go ahead and hop in the car, right? And then you're never seen again. It'd be the same thing. Like, how do you describe that to the police, right? Oh, it was a gray car. There was a guy, he had a beard.
Yeah.
The girl had hair.
Yeah. Don't know the in between.
Yeah, he never
Yeah.
came back to pick us up, so who knows when they, my friends would ever get in there to report me missing, right? And
Yeah.
by then, every hour, your fucking memory's getting hazier and hazier. Like, I think she was blonde. She might have been brunette.
See, that's why I believe in taking karate. Because like even if I'm taken by a trucker and raped, because clearly I am going to be, but
That's why
still,
they picked you up.
yeah, I still want to put up a fight,
Yeah.
a decent fight at least.
No, that's why I always pack the knife.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my kung fu, knife to the eye.
yeah. Oh, speaking of knives, the Sportsman show last weekend.
Right? Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, they actually had a guy that was that made homemade knives. 2 Russian guys.
Oh, cool. Do they make the steel too, or did they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Everything, the whole 9 yards, and they set them all up on like rabbit fur
Oh, cool.
on a log. Come buy these knives. I was like, I kind of want to, but then that would just be, I don't use a knife that like I got my knives.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Like it'd be nice to have, but at the same time, it's like, what am I going to use a fucking buck knife?
Yeah.
Like if I was skinning deer, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I did get dog treats at half price.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Lots of show special for like dog stuff.
Cool.
But the amount of red beards that I saw there. Yeah, that's what prompted me to shave.
That's funny.
Yeah, I passed by the mirror. I was like, "Fuck,
Red beards."
yeah." It's like I could smell like I'm still there. Like it was a bad smelling place.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. It was overpacked.
Overpacked, yeah.
Overpacked.
So they must have made a killing then. What'd you say? It was like $20 a fucking ticket or something, right?
$20 a ticket. But the show special that they had there, like you just can't beat those deals, especially if you're a fisherman.
Sure.
The amount of lures and
Yeah.
show special, buy this now. It's like a whole rod for like $10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, take
So
it away.
Did you buy some stuff?
The dog treats. I went for dog treats and I got a pretty cool collapsible shovel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for $20. They're normally like, even if I went on Amazon, they're like 35 and up.
Right.
It's for looking for gold. So
okay. So it's like a spade, like a
and
sharp shovel.
it's collapsible, so it fits in the backpack nicely.
Nice.
Because even by the description, white guy, red beard, walking through the forest with a shovel. Yeah, that's a bad look. That's a real bad look. So if I can at least like hang it on my backpack or like have it as a backpack item, when I get to the water, then I can unfold it, dig the dirt I want to, and then like dip on out of there pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And bury the body while I'm at it.
Why not while you're there?
The body, the hard drive, and the weapon. Yeah. Yo, once I lived at this house that's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And next door, many years ago, the house burnt down. So it turned into a field.
Okay.
And it just stayed a field. The one morning, I hear something like in that field, and this was at like 4 or 5 a.m. Still kind of dark outside. Dude was burying a computer. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, just some random dude. Like I heard like the noise, and I looked outside and I saw him burying like a tower.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was on that fucking computer?
Well, I didn't go anywhere near it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That can't be good.
Yeah, I didn't want to know.
Oh my God. I would have been there fucking an hour later digging that shit up.
Yeah.
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 Like, I got to find what's on here. But I mean, if he's smart, then he would have like, I don't know, if he wanted hidden, then he probably would have destroyed it and then buried it, right?
Yeah.
If it was like full of fucking child porn or some crazy shit, right?
Justice took its course. Like that was trying to think of the year 2010
Mhm.
maybe. And it was around 2013 that the apartment I was living in, which is I've never left this neighborhood.
Mhm.
I've always lived in this neighborhood. The apartment that's near here on King Street, there was an RCMP I saw in the elevator. I kind of picked it out. And he mentioned that he was investigating a pedophile ring.
Oh,
And it showed up in the paper that apartment buildings that were kind of close to there, but
Okay.
kind of adjacent, it was being operated out of there.
really?
Yeah. I don't know if it was like harmed children or just like the distribution of the material.
So yeah, that's probably what it was. Probably just like someone that had like 16 fucking gigs of, horrible videos.
Yeah, not passing children through that apartment building.
Just passing videos around, right? I mean, you can go to jail for that shit.
Whatever it was, bless the RCMP officer that had to do this thing,
Mm-hmm.
because you got to be subjected to that kind of stuff.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I read the stories in passing, but if it's that kind, like I try to steer clear. So like you mentioned the images, the child, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm aware of those evils in the world. I don't need to see it
Yeah.
unless
It's hard
I'm
to see.
like helping out, right? Like,
Yeah.
If there's a kid in danger, I don't care what the kid looks like. If I need to help, I'm gonna help.
Yeah, of course, right?
It's the same with animals too. I've done pretty good at keeping that clean off of my social media feeds.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any like, can you believe this? And then it shows like something horrific happened to an animal.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Bite.
Usually those ones are clickbait ones anyways, right? I at least that's what I've heard. It's like, oh, can you imagine this or whatever? And then they show the clip and then the comments are all like, you set this up, like this isn't like a snake eating a rabbit. This is you trapping a rabbit and then letting a snake go on it,
Yes.
right? Just
Yeah.
for the clicks. And then it's like, oh, watch this rabbit defend itself, and then it shows that maybe even help the rabbit or something at some point, right? It's like a setup.
Yeah. No, I've had examples in the past, but the more clear one I have from recently was a lady in the office beside mine was had a shocked look on her face. I'm like, what's up? And she goes, oh my God, look at this video. And it was the neighbors that got a dispute over shoveling.
Uh-huh.
And the one came out with a gun and killed the couple across the street.
Uh-huh.
And it was all recorded on the Ring cam.
Right.
And she was watching the video on the work computer.
Right.
And when I started seeing that, it's kind of like caught deer in the headlights.
Right.
It
like,
started, and you can't look away, can't like even move to say like shut that shit off.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up seeing the whole thing, and that stayed with me for days.
Right. Well, how vivid was it though? I mean, it's like a Ring cam. It was probably like kind of far away-ish, wasn't it?
It was enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That woman survived multiple gunshots before she died,
Wow.
and then you knew when she died.
Hmm.
Like that last shot.
Right.
And like the husband too, like trying to get away and being like killed in the corner of his garage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
So when it's any of that kind of stuff, I know it's out there, but it's going to ruin my day for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel for the victims. I'll help any way I can. And that RCMP, yeah, he busted it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kudos to those guys, right? Because they have to watch all those fucking videos and shit to see, right? And like,
are you sure? Look at this.
yeah. Be like, oh, is that somebody that we can like identify? Maybe, someone that's in the video,
Yeah.
committing the crime. Yeah. That'd be fucking rough. I remember once when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I had tried downloading some pornography on the internet, through a torrent.
Yeah.
And when I started playing it, I was probably like 16, and I started playing it, and like the video started out, and it was like two really, really young kids, like just like playing on their bed. And then this like guy walked in, and I was like, oh my God. I knew right away. I was like, oh my God, this, and the guy sat down on the bed beside the kids. And then I was like, oh my God, I turned it off and fucking deleted everything.
Good for you.
I was like, oh, I hope like, like this isn't getting tracked to me. Or I was so worried about getting caught and shit. Right. But I'm like, just that image of a fucking guy sitting next to children as they're jumping on the bed, I knew it was going to fucking
sickly feeling.
Oh yeah.
That it's not
he
good.
was like setting up the camera, right? As like the kids are jumping on and he's like on a tripod and stuff, right? Like, oh my God. And that's the fucking shit that these people are spreading around with each other, right? Because they're the ones that do it, right? Because that's the only way you can kind of get it is like you got to find someone who's making that stuff, and then whether it's money or just for other trades, that's their currency,
Well, it's a part of the world, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's like, how big is it? It seems a lot bigger than you would think. Not only big, but like something that's like been part of our society since like as far back as we can kind of tell in our civilizations.
Yeah,
that kind of bullshit has been like a part of it the whole time.
Yeah, you well, I want to say you never really know who it is. Sometimes you do. You just look at them and then you find out in conversation. You're just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, like in conversation, where you're talking to a dude and then yeah, that chick's hot, and then starts walking back the age.
Yeah,
like naming off a person where you're just like, huh? Well, if I was that age, like. And it just the air sucks out of the room, and you're just like, oh God, you're one of them. Yeah. And I think there are some people like that out there,
mm-hmm.
and they're hidden in our society. Otherwise, this stuff wouldn't be prevalent, right?
I
Something's
actually
gotta stamp out.
I actually just there's a guy in the city where I grew up that we went to high school with. And he ended up marrying one of my best friend's wife, is her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And she married this guy. And it was like, a guy we used to hang out with in high school all the time or whatever. But then last time I was there, they were like, oh, did you hear fucking he got arrested? And I was like, for what? And they're like, he was soliciting a 12-year-old girl.
Oh my God.
Like online chatting with her, and turned out to be police doing a setup. I think it was either that or it was the parents caught it and fucking turned him in, but I thought it was a sting. And so like it was like To Catch a Predator, basically,
Chris Hansen.
Yeah, it was basically that.
I hope it was Chris Hansen that got him.
I doubt it, because otherwise it really would have probably been news. But yeah, no, this was just from our friends. So yeah, so they're like, yeah, he was like talking to this girl, sending her pictures. And then he fucking, for whether it was a trap or it was the parents, like he fucking got caught and they fucking arrested him. He got sent to jail for like 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem weird?
I think it was for 2 years.
Like light?
Well, yeah, because I mean, he didn't do anything, right? I mean, like he just planned to do something, right? So it's one of those.
True enough.
And I mean, Canada, you're lucky you get anything in Canada, man.
I do know at the same time, too, whenever you go in a cell, your cellmate, the first thing they ask you is
what are you in for?
Yeah, what's your papers?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me your papers. And your papers will say on there what you're in for.
Oh, what do they give you? Papers? When you're in there? I would think they don't give you anything.
Inmate, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You're here, you're incarcerated for
Right.
Give me your papers. Let me see what you're in for. And they have that to distribute, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when it says pedophile,
like your rep, like, hey, I'm in for murder, bro. Check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, So like if he went to jail and his cellmate's in there because he killed a pedophile.
Yeah, and then let me see your papers.
Yeah.
It says petter ass, and you're like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
You don't know this guy just killed his last fucking roommate, right? And he's like, oh, okay, I see. All right, well, have a good first night.
You know, if
See
you're
you
ever
in the morning.
Yeah, if you're ever going to go to jail, like go to jail for killing one of those guys because you'll be a hero in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you in for? Saw this guy do this thing to a kid. He didn't need to be alive.
Yeah, they're the number one fucking the ones that get it the worst in prison. I've heard from other guys. I think it was on Joe Rogan actually. I heard some guy who was talking about being in there, and they're like, oh, like who gets it the worst? And they're like, oh, the fucking pedophiles, man. Like once they find out that you've done anything to children,
yeah,
they usually fucking make you a target, and you're either someone's bitch or you end up dying.
Well, as much as I'm against violence, that makes logical sense to me.
Yeah. I'm not losing any sleep.
Yeah, no. That would be one of the things, like how we had the truckers like secretly funding that whole Occupy Ottawa thing,
Right.
If there was a secret, just like, yo man, I killed pedophiles on the side, like that'll be my secret. Like I know it's illegal, but you know I got some extra money, man. Like go get rid of this fucking shit, man. The one thing that we can all agree on that's got to exit from this world, the hardest thing to get rid of. And I do think Hollywood is a good target to like. Okay, well, first, the Catholic priests, they need to calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
They need to stop that shit right now. So that should be easy pickings.
Yeah.
Hollywood's going to be the hard one because they ride a line.
Right.
Not only riding a line, like, okay, like Disney.
Yeah, they draw the line usually.
Yeah.
And then they ride it.
Yeah, Disney, they're kind of evil in that way.
They're evil in a lot of ways, Disney. It's pretty surprising.
Yeah, I think I spoke about on here the whole Star Wars thing. There was the one guy at my work that was all excited, so I watched the show to discuss it with him.
Right.
And it was just this whole agenda thing. It like the show sucked balls. It was awful.
It was one of the newer ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the newer ones, but the agenda being pushed and then how it was political and those kind of things. And you start thinking about like Britney Spears and like,
yeah, she
she's
just
like,
put out a weird video a little while ago. Hey, like a month ago, I think maybe, or something.
Oh, she's back.
Well, she just did a YouTube or a TikTok or something. But
really?
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, she's put out lots of videos before, but this is a typical one. And she's like, basically, she's talking the whole video as if she's a 5-year-old child. And like almost like she's regressed, right? And she's like, it's not nice when you make fun of Britney. She doesn't like it, you know, and like just talking almost like third person as a child. Yeah, for like the whole thing and like a high pitched weird voice. So, you know, it lends credence to people that it's like, oh, like if anyone was ever, you know, MK Ultra, it would have been her, right?
Yeah.
And just that programming did not stick.
Yeah. I heard through someone, so it's like not all that reliable, but I kind of believe it. A security guard that worked for Britney that said she was just like surviving on like just meth and Mountain Dew.
Which is funny because I think she's like from like the Ozarks or something, you know, like one of those like kind of white trashy places.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Just to say she's just like living off Mountain Dew and meth. Like, oh, it's funny.
Yeah, she tried to proposition him by like picking something up off the ground, like, come and get it. And he said that was the grossest shit he has ever seen in his life. he like noped right out of there. Like, I don't even care. He was so disgusted by her. He was just like, nah.
What is this when she was famous or like?
Yeah, even after having kids, like after Federline.
Okay.
Yeah, post Federline, Britney Spears.
That's the sad Britney. Anything
Yeah.
anything pre-Federline, I think I'd be all over that.
Yeah. But that's when she was all Disney-fied.
Yeah.
Like fresh from the Mouseketeers and
Sure.
like in that school uniform singing like you have to use your tongue like this so much.
Yeah.
Why? Sex appeal. For who? Children. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
That makes none. But then again, like we had He-Man as a kid, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, that's pretty sexualized.
Do you think so?
You think? Yeah, maybe.
I was really into He-Man when I was a kid.
Yeah, so was I. That fucking Tila and the eagle
Yeah.
witch chick. Fucking yeah.
They weren't that sexualized, I don't think.
Oh fuck it.
Their outfits weren't that bad when you especially when you look at the kind of shit they have now.
Have you
I mean, they were basically wearing like a one-piece bathing suit is the best you could describe it.
True.
Like I remember the Hawk Girl was like, it's like a one-piece bit all the way up there, not anything kind of revealing besides the legs. It was like often legs.
Maybe I was just weird as a kid. But yeah, that to me that was like a highly sexualized show.
I mean, you're just a young boy. Fuck you. I remember looking at my sister's doll and being like, that doll's kind of sexy.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
Like holding this doll. I'm like, wow, this doll's like kind of sexy.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, what am I talking about? This is a fucking doll.
I don't like her as a bird. Put her back into a lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even the chick that hung out with Skeletor.
Oh, yeah.